Huh. Oi. Oh. Your camera must be updated before you can use it. Ah. Looking at the two cameras side by side, you can see that the Action 4 is a little bit smaller than the GoPro, but not by much. And when you put them side by side, they are almost identical when it comes to thickness. We have a battery slot with an SD card on the Action 4. Same thing goes for the GoPro as well. As you can see here though, the GoPro has a USB-C port on the same side as the battery. And when it comes to the Action 4, you actually got to flip it around to see the USB-C port. Looking at the bottom here, you can see that the GoPro has the classic GoPro feet, and the Action 4 instead uses the clamp-on. Something that I'm not really a huge fan of when it comes to this magnetic thing is that there's a little bit of wiggle room. I don't know if you can hear this, but see, when you're using the GoPro, you're mounting it with the screw, and you can tighten this very, very hard. There's no opportunity to give you any sort of micro shakes or vibrations. GoPro with the battery installed, 151 grams. Action 4 with the battery installed, 143 grams. That's an 8-gram difference. So I set up both cameras to have exactly the same settings. We are shooting with the auto white balance, 4K 16:9 at 25 FPS. We're currently shooting at 10-bit with the GoPro, and I think we're doing that with the Action 4 as well. This is what the audio sounds in the GoPro when shooting inside in this kind of environment. And this is what it sounds like when I'm using the Action 4's audio instead. And you can also see how much wider the Action 4 is compared to the GoPro, because I think that this has a 155 degrees field of view. Meanwhile, the GoPro has something like 144, I guess. Let's give it a little bit of a running test, holding it straight as I can with my right arm. Let's go. Okay, I'm not gonna think, I'm just gonna run. Stabilization. Oh. Definitely getting my cardio in today. Whew. Okay, feels nice to be back. I just want to know that I bought both of these cameras myself. Neither GoPro nor DJI sent this over to me for free. This is paid for with my own money to make this video. And I'm trying to make this comparison as good as possible so that you know which action camera that you should buy if you're looking for an action camera. It has been pouring down the entire day today, and I was actually expecting a little bit of better weather, but you know, these are action cameras, and I think that action cameras should be tested in an action kind of environment, or at least as much of an action kind of environment as I do on a day-to-day basis. But I thought, why not take out the car, you know, Optimus, huh? Haven't introduced you yet. Gonna introduce you soon. Drop a comment if you'd like to see a video going down the entire car, showing you all the details of it. It is incredibly windy outside today. This is gonna be an interesting setup, and it's actually the first time that I'm trying this out. know if you can hear me right now. It's windy, but it went well. So now you know what the cameras looks like when you have the exact same settings in the exact same scenario. Cameras doing all the work. But now I have upgraded the GoPro to a 5.3K resolution and an 7x8 frame or 8x7 frame, and the Action 4 is using the 4K 4x3 with Rocksteady 3.0, I think, and the GoPro is using Hyper Smooth. So let's do a little bit of a run test and see which camera is performing the best when it comes to stabilization. And now I'm just running as I would without holding the camera and thinking about keeping it steady. Right? Here we go. Turning back. I'm gonna hold with my left hand just because this video deserves it. Okay. That's a nice view of Gothenburg, right? Both cameras right now is shooting in log, which is basically kind of a flat color profile. If you're not familiar with it, it's the best profile to give you as much dynamic range as possible when you're using cameras. I am still out of breath from running. Whew. And the reason that you're using a log profile is because you want to do adjustments to the picture quality when you jump into the editing process. But one thing that a lot of people don't really think about when they're shooting in log is that if you don't know how to actually work with a log profile, it's very, very hard to make it look good. But don't worry, that's why I have created some action camera LUTs. You're gonna get 2 LUTs that is going to make your footage go from looking like this to this in a matter of seconds. I'm gonna drop a link to the LUT pack in the description. I kind of want to show you the setup that I got on both cameras here. So let's go into GoPro first, and you're gonna see that I have set it up to be GoPro log in 8x7, 5.3K, 25 FPS, and the wide lens with Hyper Smooth on. I'm also gonna let the shutter be auto, and then we're gonna set the fixed white balance to 5500, and we're gonna leave the ISO between 100 and 400. That's it. Now you know. Now you see that. On the Osmo 3, I am going to choose Pro with exposure auto, but we're going to set the white balance to 5500 here as well, so that we have the same kind of white balance. There we go. Confirm. And as you can see, we're shooting in D-Log here as well. Field of view is going to be wide, but I will turn off Rocksteady so that we can have this gyro data in gyro flow later. Okay, let's start the recording on both cameras. There we go. Now you see, now we're recording on both cameras. Okay? All right? I don't know about you, but looking at this footage, the GoPro doesn't look like a log footage. The DJI Osmo does, but the GoPro looks kind of vivid. And I've been looking through the footage multiple times, thinking that I need to have something wrongly set in the GoPro. But I just think that the GoPro performs very bad in low light compared to the Action 4. But we're gonna send these up on the FPV, and then you're gonna be the judge of which one looks the best. We're back, and I thought I'd give you my final thoughts and sort of like a conclusion to this entire video, because there's been a bunch of different tests that I've done. I decided to stabilize the Action 4 footage in GyroFlow because GyroFlow is a free software, Real Steady is not. You have to pay for that, so that's an additional, I think, $150 if you want to stabilize your footage in the editing process. And that's why I use the Hyper Smooth on the GoPro and Real Steady on the Action 4. When it comes to the touch interface, the Osmo Action wins. It is by far easier to use, quicker to use, and you don't have to actually update it before you can start using it straight out of the box. That is something that you have to do with the GoPro, because otherwise it's just a brick. When it comes to audio quality, the Action 4, hands down, in my opinion, wins. It sounds so much better than it does with the GoPro. The GoPro is not bad, but the Action 4 just sounds that much better. And when it comes to the image quality, this is where I'm baffled, because I've been using a GoPro now for a little bit over 2 years, and I've been loving the image quality. But looking at these two cameras side by side with the exact same settings and trying to get the most out of the cameras, in every single test that I have done, the Action 4, in my opinion, looks the best. The only thing I think that GoPro has an advantage is in the highlights and retaining those, but I do think that you can get similar footage with the Action 4 if you decide to do a little bit of work in the editing process. And the reason that I tested both of these cameras in 4K 25 is because that is the highest quality that you can get with both of these cameras. I think it's like 4K 30, 4K 25. If you go up to 4K 60, 4K 120, you will probably lose a little bit of that image quality. And I personally never shoot in 4K 60 or 4K 120 with these action cameras. And when it comes to log footage, I am very disappointed in the GoPro log format, because if I just show you this right here, you can see that there's a lot of noise in the shadows of the GoPro, but there's almost no noise in the shadows of the DJI D-Log. And the vividness of the GoPro is something that I don't like, especially when shooting in flat color profile, but when you're shooting in standard profile, I do think it looks good. The GoPro 12, in my opinion, feels like the exact same camera as the GoPro 11. There's absolutely no need to upgrade to this, but I will probably most likely upgrade to the Action 4 instead of having the Hero Black on my FPV drone now, because I think that the Action 4 just looked that much better. Kind of impressed. But then again, I would love to hear your thoughts if you had the same experience watching through this video as I did testing out these cameras. So do drop a comment below, use them, abuse them, talk to each other, see what kind of opinions that you have. Are you on Team DJI, Team GoPro? None of these cameras are bad. One is just better than the other. Really hope that you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up, will ya? If you thought it was a good comparison.